Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Braden Timmons, and today, guys, we have freaking made it. It is week 12 of the Halloween review series, and today we are talking about Halloween Kills, the final movie in the franchise leading up to Halloween Ends, man. This has been one hell of a ride, one hell of a journey. Thank you guys so much for spending these last 12 weeks with me and the HalloScream Reviewers. If you guys aren't familiar with the other HalloScream Reviewers, make sure you guys check the description. Go show them some love. We've all worked very hard over the last 12 weeks, giving you guys Halloween reviews leading up to the end. This has been so much fun, and guys, I mean, I'm kind of nervous. I'm excited. I don't really know how to feel right now. I mean, we're 2 nights away from seeing Halloween Ends. I actually did have a press screening for tomorrow night, but unfortunately I can't make it due to work. But that's okay, because the embargo doesn't lift until 3 p.m. on Thursday anyway. Like, no reviews can officially be posted until after 3 o'clock p.m. I believe it's Eastern time. I'm not really too sure, but I'm seeing it at 7 p.m. on Thursday night, and be here Thursday night. My review will be posted and we can talk about Halloween Ends. But for now, let's talk a little bit about Halloween Kills. And thank you guys so much again, as always, for being here and watching me. I know that there's a lot of other Halloween reviewers and content creators out there, but I appreciate you guys spending a minute of your day with me. And if you guys are new here, consider clicking that subscribe button and turning on notifications for all future videos. But let's talk about Halloween Kills. So last year, 2021, Halloween Kills was released, and it was one of the more talked about Halloween sequels. And I do think that it is because it genuinely split the fan base in half. I kind of look at this movie as the Last Jedi of the Halloween franchise. Like, The Last Jedi, Star Wars The Last Jedi literally divided the fan base. There were some fans that loved it, more people that definitely hated it. But with Halloween Kills, the only reason I compare it to The Last Jedi is because there's like the side of the fan base that just really loves this movie, and then there are just sides of the fan base that just really hate this movie. And I'm kind of like in the gray area. I think that this movie is okay. It does have a lot of really good elements to it. Do not get me wrong. It also has some not great elements to it, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But what makes Halloween Kills so great? What is great about Halloween Kills? And the first thing that I'm going to say is the carnage. The carnage and the kills in this movie. This movie is fucking called Halloween Kills, and it fucking delivers on that. It really, really does. And that was something that we knew going into this movie. We knew from the marketing. We knew from a lot of the test screenings and a lot of like the stuff that we heard leading into the movie that Michael Myers was going to be fucking disgusting in this movie, and he definitely was. There are some really solid kills in this movie, and just the way, and James Jude Courtney, while we're talking about the kills, let's talk about James Jude Courtney, because he portrays Michael Myers solely in this movie. Nick Castle did have an appearance in the older couple bathroom scene in Sandra's house when Michael Myers was in the bathroom. Nick Castle did have a scene there. It didn't make the final cut of the movie, the theatrical or the extended, so it's all James Jude Courtney in this movie. And then Aaron Armstrong, who plays the Shape in 1978. Everything with Michael Myers in this movie is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Aaron Armstrong as the 1978 Shape, legitimately fantastic. Even the direction of the 1978 world that David Gordon Green and co went with. I mean, Christopher Nelson's mask, it literally looks like it could be the exact same mask. Yeah, you could see a little bit different, but for the most part, it looks really, really competent, and it looks very, very good. So, you know, just the 1978 sequence was something that I was very nervous about going into this movie, simply because it's like, you know, now this team is playing in the 1978 world. They are saying that this is officially what happened, and that made me nervous because I didn't want them to dick it, and thankfully the flashbacks were some of the best parts of the entire movie. I will say, in the extended cut, I'm very confused as to why, when Lonnie was walking home from trick-or-treating, when he saw Michael Myers over by the hedge, why the fuck that was cut from the theatrical. That is classic Michael Myers. That is some good stuff. And we get to see that in the I should say, I almost said theatrical, in the extended cut. We get to see that, and I love that. I wish that made it into the theatrical cut, because everything 1978, the bring back of Dr. Loomis, the way that they went about that, and showing young Officer Hawkins, the haircuts, the literally everything about 1978 was great, and Aaron Armstrong was great as the young Michael Myers, and then James Jude Courtney was absolutely fantastic as the adult, or I should say the older version of Michael Myers, and the carnage in the movie is phenomenal. Jamie Lee Curtis, even though she doesn't really have a lot to do in this movie, she spends pretty much the entire movie in the hospital, and has some dialogue, with Karen and Allison, and eventually Tommy when Tommy comes to see her in the hospital. Jamie Lee Curtis, you can tell that she still loves being in this franchise. She is really great in the movie. I really do like the scene with her and Officer Hawkins. I did bring that up briefly last week in my Halloween 2018 review. Love that scene. I think that it gives us some really great, it extends the backstory, to where, we buy into their characters even more and the relationship that they've had. And it also makes me very curious to see what their relationship is going to be in Halloween Ends this week. So, definitely excited to see how that storyline is going to conclude as well. And then honestly, I gotta say that the rest of the supporting characters are just kind of eh. I do really like Karen in this movie. I think that she has some moments where she's dislikable, but I will say she had a big character arc, having survived the boogeyman in Halloween 2018, and now recognizes that Michael Myers is what her mom, Lori, has been saying that he is after all these years. So I did like Karen in this movie, and the cinematography and all that stuff is honestly absolutely fantastic. And the last thing that I have to talk about, I just really have to talk about, is the score of this movie. John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and Daniel Davies, once again, is absolutely phenomenal behind the music. The music here, in my opinion, I love Halloween 2018's score the most so far, but I will say that this soundtrack is still very awesome. I actually would say that there's a few tracks on the Kills soundtrack that I like actually even more than the Halloween 2018 soundtrack, but I am one of those guys that is in the camp that I am just a big fan of the Halloween 2018 soundtrack. I loved it, and the Kills soundtrack is still very good. I love the track Rampage. I love the track Payback. I love Michael's Legend. It's I don't really know, guys. Now that I'm thinking about it, the Kills soundtrack is just so fucking good, and I love the music, and you could just hear the synths. There are some updates to what John Carpenter did in Halloween 2018, and you can just feel the very Carpenter-esque, even when the opening logo is, being presented, and you can just that it's John Carpenter, when you hear that, and the music is absolutely great. So absolutely love that, and I love everything that I talked about prior to that, and I also really liked the atmosphere of Halloween Kills. I thought that the atmosphere was really good. I thought that the way that they portrayed Halloween night and everything, loved that. I thought that the atmosphere was great. However, that for me is where the good stuff ends with Halloween Kills. This movie does have a lot of problems to it, and problems that I unfortunately can't necessarily forgive because of the way that they really handle the returning characters from the past movie. When it comes down to it, man, I was very much looking forward to Tommy Doyle returning, and Anthony Michael Hall, he just seems very over the top with this character. It's some of his dialogue, it just seems very forced, and it just more seems like that he's on a stage and trying to give some epic performance, and he just doesn't necessarily talk like people would normally talk in a situation. It's he is so bloodshed about getting Michael Myers, and he really deepens his voice like he's Batman. He's come on, like, let's go get him or something. Like, you know, that's how he is in this movie, and I just didn't really buy into that. And it saddens me to say that because Tommy Doyle was literally one of my most anticipated characters returning for Halloween Kills, and I almost said Halloween 2018. And he is the one that started the iconic line in this franchise, the "you can't kill the boogeyman." And I was so excited to see, you know, like, here he is after all these years actually trying to kill the boogeyman. And I was just so invested into that angle as to, oh my god, they're bringing back all these characters. Like, we see Tommy Doyle, we see Lindsay Wallace, we see Marion Chambers, like these, we see Lonnie Elam, and I'd say Lonnie probably is one of them that I was least looking forward to, but he actually ended up being like one of my favorites, like one of my favorite returning characters, mostly because he actually helps Allison and Cameron towards the end of the movie. It's like they all come up with this plan, and then they all literally disregard the plan. Like, literally seconds later. It's like they talk about this plan, he goes up to the house, they see gunshots in the house, and instead of alerting the police, they literally just decide, you know what, I'm gonna get out and go in the house. And they both end up suffering because of it. But I just think that out of all of the returning characters, Lonnie actually I liked the most, and it's mostly because I like how he was handled. And I didn't really like how Tommy Doyle was handled. I didn't like, I was hoping to get some really good backstory, maybe with Nurse Marion Chambers talking a little bit about being there with Dr. Loomis and everything. And also when she said, "This is for Dr. Loomis," and then she pulled the trigger and everything. I mean, I had no words. I thought that was kind of cringeworthy, I'm not going to lie. There are some moments in this movie that I did actually laugh out loud. They did really double down on the comedy in this movie. There's very much like 2018. There is a lot of comedy in the film. And I will say I found myself laughing a bit more at this movie than I did in Halloween 2018, which is good because there were some scenes in Halloween 2018 that are just incredibly cringeworthy. Here, the jokes actually, for the most part, I would say I chuckled at a little bit. Big John and Little John were honestly very much fan favorites of Halloween Kills, and I will say I did like them as characters. I thought that they brought a little bit of flavor, a little bit of lightness to the intensity that was going on in between, because there were moments like where, you know, you need that moment to breathe, like after you see all the carnage that Michael Myers is presenting. So I thought that they were good characters to do that with in between. But for the most part, guys, characters in this movie just make the stupidest fucking decisions characters can make. It's like, as awesome as the Inferno scene is with Michael Myers coming out of the flames and everything, and I'm not talking shit about the way that was shot, the way that, you know, that was directed, anything, because that shot is for sure iconic to the franchise now. It is for sure going to go down as one of the most infamous shots of Michael Myers in the Halloween franchise, for a fact, right? It's just characters like the firefighters, they literally attack Michael Myers, and obviously they have to do this for the movie to happen, but they attack him one at a time. It's like, then they go out, and characters go out of their way to just be easily convinced to go after somebody and murder them, even if it is Michael Myers. It's like, you know, they definitely make stupid decisions, and at the end of the movie, during the finale, like, they fucking just, again, the Haddonfield residents, they attack one at a time. Like, you don't do that. All of you guys just jump on. If you guys are trying to see this guy die, you guys are terrible at staying alive. Like, I mean, these characters are so dumb, and they just make the dumbest decisions, and it's just constant throughout the course of this movie. And I understand that it's a slasher, and that should normally be forgiving. But you also want to see characters in realistic situations making realistic decisions. In this movie, they just don't make realistic decisions, and they honestly are just really bad at staying alive. But I'd say that the biggest downfall here is the returning characters, because if you took off their names and you put them as random Haddonfield citizens, I mean, you easily could have, like, give or take a few scenes like where it was relevant to the story, like when again Tommy was visiting Lori in the hospital, explaining that Michael Myers is still alive and all that. But for the most part, you can slap on random character names on the returning characters, and they, to a degree, and they would still be perfectly placed. But in the end, guys, this film revs to life in spurts. I really, really like everything that I said in the beginning of this review. I fucking think that the 1978 world is great. I think that Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney, who is, yes, my favorite Michael Myers in the entire franchise. I love him in this movie. Everything with Michael Myers is great. It's the stuff that they're filling in between, like, you know, the kills that is just really stuff that I have issues with. And I wanted to go into this movie and just fucking walk out and say, this is the best Halloween film ever. And it's like number 5 on my list right now. I have to update my ranking after we see Halloween Ends this week. But, I mean, the movie does rev to life in spurts, and it revs to life with a fucking force. And also, guys, the ending of this movie with them killing Karen, it just seemed so forced. It seemed just so out of left field that, like, I mean... I was hoping that Judy Greer was going to survive to see Halloween Ends, and she didn't. You know, I wanted her there with the finale. I really did want her there for the finale of this movie, and, you know, we unfortunately aren't going to get to see that. I think we might be getting a couple of flashbacks. I can't confirm or deny that in Halloween Ends regarding the night that happened, but I don't know. I'll be able to talk more about that in our spoiler review that we have coming up this weekend on Fear Freaks. But again, guys, it revs to life in spurts. I do think that the movie could have been a lot better. So I'm going to give Halloween Kills a C. I think that this movie, again, it revs to life in spurts, but the issues that the movie has, unfortunately, I can't really get over because it was what they were doing to characters that, you know, a lot of fans were very much looking forward to seeing again, and that is where my head is at. So with all that being said, post your guys' comments down below. Let me know, what do you guys think of Halloween Kills? Do you guys love it? Do you guys hate it? Do you guys kind of find it somewhere in the middle? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 15,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys in my next video.